6 years ago, LEGO gave us the first wave of Ninjago Legacy, a new sub-theme of Ninjago that re-released older sets from Ninjago in a new, modernized way. The sub-theme lasted for a couple years, ending in 2022 with core sets coming in and replacing it. With Dragons Rising in full swing now, and every set basically always being a Dragons Rising set, it seems unlikely that we will be seeing any Legacy sets soon, so it's about time I rank all of the sets from Ninjago's best sub-theme. The interesting thing about Legacy is that a lot of these sets have older variations to look at, and because of that, I'm going to factor in previous models in determining whether or not I like the new version. Basically, if the new version is significantly worse, it's gonna hurt it even if it is an objectively solid set. So the worst Legacy set of all time is Jay's Electromech. What really sucks about this is that we were rumored to get an actual Legacy version of the Electromech in 2022, but that wave got replaced with Core. So instead of a real remake, I ended up with this thing in Jay's Evo Dragon. Also, for some reason, I have multiple videos on my phone of this set, and it's just me punching it. So yeah, that tells you pretty much everything you need to know about this one. Final Flight of the Destiny's Bounty is another one that we only got a Juniors version of. At least with this set, we did get a Legacy bounty, so there's at least some compensation, although those who specifically wanted this version of the bounty are out of luck. Funnily enough, I don't own this set, and I also don't own the original, so I still don't own a version of the Final Flight of the Destiny's Bounty. It's the only bounty I'm missing, but one day I will get it. I don't really have much to say about the Stormfighter battle. It does come with a Juniors version of the Fang Power Truck, which is interesting. Would have been real nice to see a Legacy version of that set. But for what it's worth, this set isn't terrible. The last of the 4+ sets is Kai's Fire Dragon. This set isn't good. My brother made a whole video about this set when it came out where he is raging just as hard as I do over a kid's toy. But what saves this set from a similar fate to Jay's Electromech is a real version of the Fire Dragon eventually did come out. I actually had to edit my script because I forgot about the 4+ Kai's Blade Cycle. Solid $10 set. I don't have it, but the bike looks pretty solid and the two minifigures aren't bad either. This is actually on par with some of the other $10 sets. Monastery Training is one of the smallest sets of Legacy and reminds me a lot of the original Ninja Training Outpost from 2011. The training post here is a pretty solid build with a punching bag, and Kai and Nia are nice minifigures. In fact, this is actually the cheapest way to get Legacy Kai, who is notoriously well known as being one of the most difficult Legacy figures to obtain as he comes in so few sets. Probably the coolest part about this set is the mini robot guy. He's pretty cool. The spinners aren't bad sets by any means. They're solid ways to get your favorite ninja, and they also make all of the ninja affordable. Each set comes with 3 different builds that you can clip on the side. Whether you want to do all 4 of the same or mix and match is up to you, and these spin better than the original spinners. At only $10 or $20 if the character you wanted was in one of the double packs, these were a solid deal that pretty much matched the essence of what the original spinners were. No trading cards though. The Epic Battle sets are also really solid starter sets. Each set includes a very basic but interesting structure that you can build, along with someone to fight against. However, what ends up elevating these sets the most is the fact that the ninja in each of these sets is an exclusive version of them, and I personally think that each of their designs are very solid. Let's start off with the strengths of the Samurai X Mech. The minifigures are good. In fact, all 3 of them are exclusive to the set, but the thing is, I'm not the kind of person who likes the set because of the minifigures. I buy the set for the set, and unfortunately, the mech is such a major downgrade to the original. I mean, just look at how sad this thing looks when compared to the OG. For what it's worth, in a vacuum, this would be a pretty decent mech, but when the remake is so much smaller than the original, you're just bound for disappointment. The Jungle Raider is a really solid set for what it is. Unfortunately, when you compare it to the original, you can see that the new one is much smaller in comparison, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this set is bad. In a vacuum, it's still a good set with suspension being the main function, but for a set that is supposed to be a remake, it does hurt to see it lose some size. Ironically though, had this just been called like Lloyd's Buggy, I'd probably say it's a better set than the original Jungle Raider, just a bit smaller. The Golden Dragon is another set that is a downgrade in size, although it's not necessarily as bad as the Samurai X or the Jungle Raider. While there is a major downgrade in size, there is definitely an upgrade in posability, so it's not necessarily that bad of a downgrade as it would seem on first glance. My biggest problem with this set is it's super hard to consistently make it stand on just its 2 feet, but that problem can be fixed by using the claws on the wings to help balance it. And let's not forget the minifigures. Both the Legacy Golden Lloyd and the new version of the Overlord are extremely nice figures to get. The Ultrasonic Raider gets a lot of flack because of the Ultra Stealth Raider, which many people consider to be a better Legacy version of the 2012 Ultrasonic Raider. In all fairness, this set is definitely a good remake of the original 2012 version of the set, and it definitely looks like a more modernized version. But the thing is, this set also does this really weird thing where it's trying to be both the Sonic and the Stealth Raider. One example of this is the fact that the vehicle splits into 4 parts, which is just straight up not accurate to what the Ultrasonic Raider is. And not to mention that the side bikes in this set are, well, we'll just say mid to put it nicely. If they tried to make it more of a one-on-one replica of the original 2012 version, I think I would have preferred that more than this weird hybrid of the 2 sets. It's also kind of funny that this set has 2 Zanes. The Golden Mech is both a great and bad mech. The legs of this mech are really good at being one of the first mechs to have knee articulation, but don't let that distract you from the fact that the rest of this set is pure garbage. The arms are not good because they can only move up and down, there's no wrist articulation, and although the shoulder can move, the movement is useless. It would have been a lot better with a ball joint. The only other redeeming factor outside of the legs is the fact that it has Kozu, who is an exclusive figure. Remember when LEGO used to give us a new double bike set every year and one of the bikes was mid while the other bike was really good? Well, this is the Legacy version of that set. Zane's Snowmobile is basically everything you want from a Legacy set. A remake of an original set that is also straight up better. But then you look at Kai's Blade Cycle and they just straight up did Kai fans dirty with this remake. It's just not Kai's Blade Cycle. This would have been a great bike if they just released it as its own thing, but calling it a Blade Cycle? Nah, this ain't a Blade Cycle. The last set I would call a downgrade from the original would be the X1 Ninja Charger. Now the thing about this set is it's not even really a downgrade. The set itself is really good and has all the functions the original has, such as the spring-loaded shooter in the back and the ability to abandon the car for a bike. I just personally think that this version is a bit too smooth and loses some of the charm of the original. When looking at the sets side by side, it's really easy to tell that they're supposed to be the same thing, but you can also see some clear and obvious differences. The Tournament of Elements is a pretty boring set to me. The main draw of the set is definitely the minifigures, specifically the 3 elemental masters, Jacob the Master of Sound, Belobo the Master of Nature, and my personal favorite of the 3, Gravis the Master of Gravity. But because there are so many minifigures, the build for this one is rather lackluster. So for someone like myself who prefers a solid build over cool minifigures, a set like this where the build suffers for better minifigures is never going to end up high on my list. But I do appreciate getting sets like this because it is nice to get some of these minifigures in a cheap set that we would otherwise likely never get or would be locked in a huge expensive $300 set. Some of you might be surprised to see that the Ultra Dragon is this low on my list, even though it's a good set, and part of that speaks to the quality of the Legacy sub-theme. The best part about this set is the wing flapping function, but they lose some of the charm of the original through the modernization of the set. I think the most notable thing is the heads. Obviously you can't create a one-on-one since the Legacy model is brick built while the original were custom molds, but if the Legacy heads were longer and thinner, it would have captured that shape a bit better. Also, the wings would have been better if they did brick built instead of a vinyl piece, but it's not a terrible change. Even still, this is definitely an elite set and certainly a million miles better than the original, which is one of the worst sets of all time. The Destiny's Bounty is a set that is just there. This is a pretty solid remake over the original, but there's nothing about this set that really jumps out to you the way other Legacy sets do. The minifigures are pretty generic to say the least. The best 2 are Samurai X and Young Lloyd, which are solid but don't turn the needle on this set for me. For those who don't know, this set was originally gonna include Garmadon and the Mega Weapon, but that unfortunately got scrapped, and I feel like missing out on something like that really hurts this set, because instead of having something that is a wow factor, you're pretty much just looking at another Destiny's Bounty. It's a good set, but it's not special in the way that other Legacy sets are. The Overlord Dragon is the only set from Legacy that is actually based off a villain, and it is also a set that isn't a remake of any other previous sets. I think the most interesting thing about this set is the wings, because instead of going for the vinyl wings that we see in other Legacy sets, like the Ultra Dragon and the Fire Dragon, we actually get a bunch of purple blades. And I actually really like that they did this, because it not only harkens back to the original Ninjago dragons, but it also makes the dragon feel a lot larger. Another part about this set that I think the designers did really well is the head, as it looks really accurate to the show. The only downside here is the fact that there's only 2 minifigures, albeit the minifigures included do make a lot of sense. Still, I think it would have been really cool to get one more figure like a Stone Warrior, or in a perfect world, a corrupted Nia. The Boulder Blaster is honestly barely much of an upgrade compared to the original, but where it is upgraded is really good. The problem with the set is that they've already taken a really solid set and just perfected it, so this lacks some of the wow factor that we will see in the other Legacy sets above it. When looking at the two side by side, they're both very similar. Probably the best change is the new windshield part. However, the lack of changes doesn't necessarily make the set bad, it still plays and displays really well. For those who don't know, the function of the set is just 8 spring-loaded shooters that you can fire off at minifigures or people, and is probably one of my favorite functions. The set also comes with the exclusive Golden Kai figure, but unfortunately I just can't justify putting this one higher, as it just doesn't feel like that big of an improvement compared to the original. The Legacy Fire Dragon is a very good but somewhat flawed dragon. First off, when you compare this set to the original, you can see that they did a fantastic job not only modernizing the set and beefing it up, but also making it look similar to the original and keeping that fire aesthetic in the new version. The problem with this set is it straight up has major stability issues and cannot stand when the wings are spread out, which I believe is a major design flaw. However, the rest of this thing is incredible. It's also worth mentioning that this set includes the exclusive Golden Nia minifigure. The Kai Fighter manages to stay true to the original version while still beefing it up and modernizing it. I honestly have no problem with the actual look of the set, I actually think it's perfect. The thing that does bother me though is the way you activate the function on the set, which is just so weird. For some reason they decided that to activate the function you should push down the cockpit, which makes the set look so dumb. Had they stuck with a similar method of activating the function that was seen in the original, this honestly would have been much higher. J Stormfighter is pretty much a better version of the Kai Fighter. The Legacy version is a huge upgrade from the original. It's not only bigger, but the function also works significantly better. The new version uses string parts attached to a lever in the middle of the jet that can be pushed forward to spread out the wings. This change makes this function elite, and it works so much better than the original one, which I found to be inconsistent at best. Plus, this set also comes with Pythor, which definitely helps push this set up compared to some of the other Legacy sets that are pretty much just as good. The Thunder Raider is another set that is just an absolute crazy upgrade compared to the original. The best change from the original actually has to do with the function. In the original set, the J part looked really bad when the Colmac was detached from it, and the Legacy version does a really good job at making it look not awful. They basically redesigned it so there's not a giant part of it awkwardly sticking up like in the original set, and although the back of the Legacy version looks bare, it's definitely much better than what we previously had. The Colmac is also really solid with incredible legs that have knee articulation. The only downside is the arms. They were designed in a way so that they can help make the set even more awesome when it's fully combined, but because of that, the arms suffer greatly when the mech is detached with very limited movement. And of course, no Legacy set is complete without some awesome minifigures, and this set definitely delivers. Obviously it comes with rebooted Jay and Cole, but you also get the Overlord in here, which is such an awesome inclusion, plus some guys no one bought this set for. Cole's Earth Driller is the first S-tier Legacy set in my opinion, because there's literally nothing wrong with it. First off, can we just take a moment to appreciate the major improvement of this set over the original? The original isn't even bad, but when you compare it to this, there's just no comparison. This either matches it or beats it in every category. Additionally, when I think about a Legacy set that best matches what we saw in the show, I immediately think about this set. The absolute best part about this is definitely the windshield piece, which has amazing printing on the side. And just to top off this set, you also get a giant Stone Warrior. The only thing that's holding this back from a higher spot is the weak minifigure selection. The best one is the Stone Army Warrior, who is exclusive, although the ultra rare Legacy Kai is a close second. It sucks because had this set come out in 2021 and one of the exclusive golden minifigures had come in this set, or if they at least had a named character like Kozu, this definitely would have been a couple spots higher. Even though I said that the Earth Driller is the set I think best matches the show, that might have been premature, because when I see the Legacy version of the Monastery, I immediately think back to seeing the Monastery in the early seasons of Ninjago. I'm definitely beating a dead horse at this point, but this is another set that is just so much better than the original. The original was basically just a small wall with a couple training obstacles, while this is a whole-blown thing with training obstacles, tea, and a super impressive building. I know that one of the only complaints I saw about this set was that people were upset that it wasn't just one whole structure, but instead two separate parts, but I personally do not care about that. And of course, this set also is a great way to get the entire ninja team, plus Sensei Wu, and of course, all of the golden weapons. When you hear Titan Mech, you know it's going to be good, and Zane's Titan Mech is no exception to that. In fact, the only exception is probably the predecessor, which I mean, just look at that thing. It's not even the best mech from the set it came in. This is the only real Legacy version of a possession set, and it does not disappoint at all. This set pretty much revolutionized larger LEGO mechs, as it was the first to have knee articulation, something that in the past mechs was sorely missing and highly desired, and is fortunately not the standard. The mech is extremely posable and highly detailed, plus because it's the only real possession remake, it comes with a Legacy Possession Zane, which is exclusive to the set and the only Possession Ninja remake we got. And what's even crazier is that may not even be the most desirable minifigure, because you also have Golden Joy, who is an exclusive to the set. And I won't forget the Ghosts either, which aren't exclusive but still really great figures. Ninjago City Gardens is widely considered one of the best Ninjago sets of all time, with many, including myself, considering it the best set. And before you comment about this not being a Legacy set, it has Legacy branding, so I'm gonna include it. It obviously doesn't take much to see how incredible this set is, so I'll just list off some of the highlights. For minifigures, some of my favorites include the urban versions of Jay, Cole, and Nia, the Legacy versions of Ronin and Mistake, the Mechanic, and Clutch Powers, and of course, the best of them all, Legacy Kai. No, I'm just kidding. The best minifigure is obviously the Golden Wu minifigure. As for the actual set, I really like that there is a giant tree in the middle that the city is built around. It gives the set a fresh sense of wildlife in a set that is otherwise extremely busy looking. Chen's Noodle House is one of the best of the actual buildings from the set, but there are plenty of other Easter eggs, including smaller versions of other Legacy sets. And of course, I can't not mention the fact that we get a small side area that has the Zane statue from the end of Rebooted. It's just an incredible set, and in my opinion, the best out of a ton of incredible Ninjago Lego.